did a wardrobe change. I put a clippy in my hair. Do I look like it's a different day? That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, let's get into it. What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Krupin, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about goals. I know everybody and the mama, their auntie, whatever you want to call them, is talking about goals right now. Why? Because we're in December. It's the end of the year. Everybody needs to start thinking about New Year's resolutions. What's going to be the goal for 2024? I know everybody's talking about it, and you're probably like, okay, she's just another podcaster that's talking about it. And here's why I think I stand out. One, I'm still a little unfiltered right now. I still tell you guys a lot of personal stuff. And in this episode, we're going to get a little bit more personal because I think it's important to talk about the struggles, right? I think a lot of content creators, and maybe I am just blind to this, or maybe I still have my rose-colored glasses on because the community has been so kind, right? And it's still pretty small. I haven't went like super viral with any of my personal topics. Some of my videos have gone viral. Like me with that yellow pooper scooper bucket, people lose their minds, millions of views. And those are the kind of videos that go viral for me. So I haven't been burned. I haven't had nasty people in my comments yet that maybe have made me be a little bit more reserved. You guys are listening to this podcast at a good time. Because who knows? Who knows what Erica in 5 years is going to be like, if she's going to be as honest and transparent as raw and real as she is right now. But I want to talk about goals. I want to talk about business goals. I want to talk about personal goals. And I want to talk about why I think I struggled setting goals. Why I think I struggled to vision cast. Why I think I had a blocker to be able to see into the future or even dream, allow myself to dream. And I do feel like a lot of people can resonate with this. And so that's the reason why I want to talk about it. And I feel like it's important. I do want to put a trigger warning that I'm gonna get kind of raw and real. I'm gonna talk about some struggles that happened between me and my father, and things that we're working through right now. And I'm a woman, and I'm 36 years old, and some of the things that he said to me growing up as a parent, he didn't know. He didn't know how deeply it was going to impact me. He didn't know that his comments about my weight and the way that my face was shaped, or how I dressed, or me being a woman, how the things that he would say was going to impact me as a teenager, in my 20s and in my 30s, and until now. This can be very hard for some people to listen to, especially if you've been verbally abused. I don't know if I can even say that word on YouTube. I'm not sure. We might have to blur it out on YouTube, but on the podcast, I think it'll be fine. And physically, and how it will impact you later on in life. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I do want to say this. I want this to be a safe space. I'm not here to bash my father. I'm just here to shine light on my journey, my life, things that have happened to me that has molded me into who I am today, and why I struggle with things, but also looking back and having grace with my father to know he came from a different generation. Each generation does things differently. And we're working through this stuff, and we're opening up communication. So if you're interested in hearing all about that, stay tuned. But before we hop into it, how are you? How are you doing? I want to check in on you. I myself have been doing better. I was down in the dumps, very low, down in the dumps. And I caught myself slipping with a lot of things like my diet, my workout, vitamin intake, showering regularly. I know you might be like, that's nasty. How do you not shower? Sometimes you just get so busy you don't realize it. And it just happens. Mental health is a real thing. But I'm showered today. We're feeling good. We're looking good. At least I think I look good. That's all that matters, right? That's what matters. If I think I look good, I look good, okay? And check me out over on the YouTube video. I got a clip in my hair. I haven't worn a clip since, I don't know, my early 20s. But whatever. We're having hair issues because I decided to mess with my clip. But anyways, what we're gonna talk about, now that we know that you're doing good, I'm doing good, I'm having hair issues, we're gonna talk about the power of goal setting. And I know, like I said in the intro, everybody and their mom's going to be talking about goal setting right now, but I want to talk about it in a little bit of a different sense, and the struggles that go behind being able to like vision cast and see into the future, because I think it's important. I think this isn't something that's important to talk about, that I personally don't hear a lot on social media, is why it's difficult to 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 goal set, why it's difficult to imagine yourself and envision yourself growing this big business, having a family, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever it may be, why it's difficult with that. But let's just start with the basics. What's the purpose of a goal? For me, the purpose of the goal is to be able to make changes. So say for instance, something that's been relevant to me is I really wanted to get my weight down, okay? I am 5'4" and I got up to like 180 pounds. That is too much weight for my little frame. It really is. Yeah, my boobs were boobing. My booty was bootylicious. Like she was thicker than a Snickers. But so was my waist, so were my legs, so were my arms, my chin, everything. I just felt very uncomfortable. I was heavier. I would notice running up the stairs, I was breathing a little heavy, out there scooping and walking around. I felt like I was a little bit slower. And as you get older, you've had injuries, you've done wear and tear on your body, especially with the winter coming up, like all that extra weight, it's a lot. It's a lot on the joints, it's a lot on the bones. And the weight sucks, yes, but why the weight was being caused was more of the issue, because eventually I was probably going to end up on like diabetes medication, because diabetes runs in my family, and it's not really genetics. Like sugar isn't genetics. I don't believe that. I think the traits, I think the actions, like everybody in my family that has diabetes, they didn't just get diabetes when they were younger. They ate a lot of sugar. They they didn't take care of their bodies the way that they were supposed to. So now they have diabetes. And so they always say like, "Oh, it's genetic." Maybe, but I think the traits and the actions and the fact that everybody likes to eat cake and cookies and carbs and an unbalanced diet led to the diabetes. If you think that that's not true, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Educate me, please. But anyways, I made a goal that I wanted to lose this weight. Okay, here's the goal. Boom. What am I going to do to get this weight off? I need to exercise more. I need to change my diet. I need to drink some more water. How am I going to be able to do all of those things? Okay. Exercise, hire a personal trainer, um, get out of the house, because I know that I can't work out in the house. I'm not going to. Go for walks, right? And so I made it a point to go for a walk. I walked every day for like 90 something days. I, decided to do that 75 hard, as we talked about. And I kept failing. And so then I was like, okay, well, this isn't working for me. Let me find an accountability group. So I found an accountability group. I stayed in it. I did the thing. I finished it. I've lost like 21 pounds. Since then, some of the healthy habits that I started to adapt have fallen off the wagon. Okay. And I don't want to gain this weight back. I still want to lose like another 10 pounds. That would be nice. That would be ideal. I hit my first goal, was to lose some weight. So now I need to come up with another goal to get that other 10 pounds. But setting the goal and then coming up with the action steps behind it, to work backwards, is what really is key. And you need, say, if you want to lose the 30 pounds, you got to like I said, work on a macro level and then work back into a micro level. So like, what does the next 3 months of my life look like? Okay, then break that down. What does the month look like? The week look like? The day look like? How am I structuring myself? How am I setting myself up for success? And you can do that with all your other goals. And the same thing with my business. Like I kept saying, like, I want to grow my business. I want to get out of my husband's garage. And I would just talk about it, but I didn't really have any steps. I would just be like, I hope this works. We'll see. I was done with that. I was absolutely done with that. I found a coach. I made it a point. I said, this is what I want. I want to get my business to $500,000 and then to $1 million. And that, I don't know, is this the word? Egregious? Is that the right word? Like, that is crazy to me. Erica, a couple years ago, when I would think about like, oh, I would love to like have a $500,000 business, I would start self sabotaging myself. Like, you can't have a business that big. You can't handle a business that big. You're not emotionally strong enough. You're not tough enough. You're not smart. You're not smart enough to have a business like that. I would start sabotaging. And I wouldn't even want to say the words out loud because I didn't believe in myself, right? And we're gonna talk about where I think this stems from, stuff that happened in my past that I am now confronting and I'm really working through. That once I come out on the other side of this, which I feel like I'm getting close to it because I've really been putting in the work. Now I can confidently say out loud to you guys, to the coach, to my husband, publicly. I it's not I want to take this business to a half a million and then to a million. I am taking this business to a half a million and then to $1 million. I am getting up out my husband's garage and into an office space. Now, is that going to look something similar to like what Brian Fullerton and Liz are doing, where they have their home, like they bought some property, they have their home, and then they have their barn area where they can run stuff out of? Does it look something like that? Or am I going to just get like an office space that offers flex space? I don't know that yet, but I know I'm getting up out the garage and into a KPS headquarters because I want to be able to run my business out of it. I want to be able to do social media stuff because I'm taking the social media stuff seriously. I said, you know what? This isn't a hobby anymore. This is a business. I filed for an LLC for my social media stuff. So now the podcast and the YouTube channel, it's a business now. You know, it was a hobby for a long time, but what I'm realizing is at some point, right, I can't just do it as a hobby anymore because I'm getting busier and busier and busier, and I only have so much time. So I need to start making money. And when I talk about sponsorships or I talk about Jobber or I have links down in the show description, just so you guys know that you guys supporting that stuff supports the channel, so I'm able to reinvest back into like equipment and with the producer and trying to even somebody to produce the thumbnails and maybe even eventually somebody to do the editing for my shorts, because you guys, those take so long. Those little clips that you guys see on social media are the is it the bane of my existence. I know you guys love them. I'm pumping them out like crazy. But oh my goodness, they take so much time. I ain't got that much time. But anyways, I feel comfortable and confident to actually say that out loud. If you are that type of person that you have goals and you think about it and you're like, that would be really cool. That'd be so cool. I would love to be able to do that, but you are afraid because you have imposter syndrome or you don't have confidence or the confidence that you need. Just know that confidence can come with time. Confidence comes with education. Confidence, when I feel more educated about something, I feel more confident about it. So you can get more confidence. I used to be very, very shy. Once upon a time, I couldn't do public speaking. I had dropped out of my first public speaking class. I did one speech, almost passed out, and I dropped the class right afterwards. I was sick to my stomach. And then I had to take it again in college. Every time I would go into that class, I would be like, because the teacher would allow five people to sign up to be able to go first, get it out of the way, so then they could just enjoy the rest of the class. And every speech, she would have that up there, and I would tell myself, you're going to sign up today. You're going to do it. And then speech after speech after speech. And that last speech, I said, today's the day. Today's the day. I gotta do this. You're not gonna wait to be the last person that goes up there again. Because every time I would wait to be the last freaking person. I walked into that class. There were no names on that board. I said, today's the day. So I walked up there. I grabbed the little dry erase marker and I wrote Erica Hensley, because I think I was a Hensley at that time, or wrote it up there. I was chicken scratch because I was so freaking nervous. And I sat down. I said, oh my goodness. Oh no. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is crazy. So I got up there. I was the first one to do the speech. And guess what, you guys? Guess what? I didn't die. I didn't die. I was okay. Nothing happened. The world didn't come cracking down. And after that moment, that was a huge moment for me because it was like I jumped over this like mountain that was there that I struggled with. And then I started to get more comfortable talking in front of crowds and talking to people. And then I started my YouTube channel. And then now I have the podcast. If I wouldn't have set that goal, right? If I would, which now it kind of seems like kind of stupid, but that was such a huge point in my life. If I wouldn't have set that goal, I wouldn't have been able to get past that. And then if I wouldn't have been able to do that, I wouldn't have been as comfortable enough to start video. Because like I started my business, which was fine, but a video was really important for the growth of my business, and then the YouTube channel. And then if I wanted to start the YouTube channel, for those of you that are listening, be honest with me. I'm kind of curious. A lot of you guys have reached out to me. If you could head over to the YouTube channel, and can you tell me how many of you guys started your business or kept going with your business because you found my YouTube channel? Could you do that for me? Could you let me know? If I wouldn't have done that, how many people wouldn't have started their business or would have taken a lot longer to start their business? If I wouldn't have started my YouTube channel, would we have Poop Scoops for Noobs? He's got a great channel. He produces excellent videos. If I wouldn't have been out there like solo, hanging out, posting content on the internet like a weirdo talking about dog poop, crickets, and it all goes back to like Brian Fullerton's like who wins when you succeed type deal. I set goals. I kept going. People were like, oh, she's doing this. I could do that. And then I shared my stories, my transparentness, and they're like, well, she's got mental health issues. She struggles with anxiety. She struggles with organization, but she's still killing it. She's still able to do it. She's still able to figure it out. I could do that too. And I think a lot of times people hide the struggles, they hide the hard times because maybe a pride thing, maybe they just are not an open book. It's hard to talk about this kind of stuff publicly, but I have always tried to do that. One, probably because I have anxiety, I'm an over talker, but I wish that I would have had somebody in my life when I was younger to talk about this kind of stuff and give me a different viewpoint on it. Because I grew up in the 2000s. This was like the internet was just starting to pop off. Don't talk to strangers on the internet was like a big thing. Now look at us. And I grew up a certain way, right? And when I moved out of my parents' house and I started working at the hospital, I started meeting other people, and I seen how other people interacted and how they carried themselves. And I was like, this is crazy, because when you only stay within a 2-mile radius for your entire life, you only know how those people interact. I will say that I didn't like it. I knew that I wanted to get out of there. I didn't know any other way. And goal setting, long-term planning wasn't really talked about in our household. My father was an entrepreneur. He was, but he didn't have conversations with us about that kind of stuff. I know for a fact, because him and we've talked about this, if he could go back and do a lot of things differently, he would. He said he, is sorry for a lot of things that happened. And I am able to have grace with him and my mother to know that as they were watching me grow up, I was watching them grow up as well. And I know if they could go back, they would do a lot of things differently. And even though they were entrepreneurs, I didn't get the information. I just seen what I seen by their actions and what they were doing. And I seen some good stuff and I seen some bad stuff, stuff that I'm like, this is chaos. And with my generation in particular, our parents really pushed for us to go to college. I remember it was really frowned upon us going into the trades or doing anything else because they wanted us to go to college. And a lot of my friends went to college and I didn't have the grades to go to college, nor could we afford for me to go. And so I went straight to the hospital. I had family that worked there, and they're like, "Hey, we'll get you in here. You can pass a drug test, right?" Uh-huh. I said, "Give me a month. I can pass a drug test." Sure, I'll get that figured out. And then I had a reliable vehicle and I started working there full time. And that was that right there that pulled me out of the hood. And I was able to get around people like diversity, different cultures. I had never been around anybody that was in same sex marriages. I had never been around anybody that wasn't either white or black. Um, because that was like my neighborhood, that was the mixture. I hadn't been around anybody that I don't think had like a an actual college education to where they completed college and they were doing well and doing successful. I had never been around anybody like that that could even remotely hold an intelligent conversation. Okay, just gonna throw that one out there. So when I got out to the hospital, that's when I was like, oh my, there's pharmacists, there's nurses, there's doctors, there's all these people. This is crazy. So I was able to see like, oh, okay, these people, how did they make money? How did they do this? Okay, they have goals, they have boundaries. They educate themselves, they live their life a certain way. And so I just observed. Did things go perfect for me? No, I still partied through my 20s. I still hung out with the friends that I was hanging out with from the neighborhood. So it was just chaos. But as time goes on, you learn from stuff and you learn from people. And after having conversations with, one of the pharmacists, she's like, yeah. And when my friends were out partying, I went home and I studied. My goal was to, she told me, she's like, my goal was to graduate, get a job as a pharmacist, marry a man that, I don't know, does what like a nurse anesthetist or an anesthesiologist, something like that, and then become a stay-at-home mom, work part-time or be a stay-at-home mom. And so she had a goal, right? She needed to get that type of job, right, to get around that type of person, than to live the life that she wanted. That's goals. And some people might be like, that's gold digger. I don't know. I think it's smart. You have to put yourself in a position to get around the people. And same thing with us, with business owners. We need to put ourselves and carry ourselves and put ourselves in the proper place so we can get around the people that we need to get around. Now, you don't want to have ill intentions with this. You want to be able to bring value to the group, to the people. You can't just be one of those people that like suck all the goodness from everybody. You got to be able to give. And how you're able to do that is by building yourself up. You have strengths in other places that other people do not have. So you want to be able to bring some value. And by bringing value, you have to have experiences and you have to have education. And circling back to the goal setting, I really struggled with goal setting because I didn't have confidence. And this is where I guess trigger warning comes into play. My dad did a real good job of what he calls teasing me. I put that in quotations. It's just something about that generation that was like, I'm just teasing you. I'm just messing with you. I'm just poking fun at you. That he didn't know. I know for a fact he didn't know because we had a conversation. He had no idea that the one time he called me fat was going to perpetually change the way that I looked at myself for the rest of my life. He didn't know that that moment when we were walking on the sidewalk to the house and I had cut my hair short, too short, and I had a very round face because it was plump and youthful. That when he told me that I don't have the face for short hair because I was too overweight, that every time I go to get my hair cut, I'm like, don't cut it too short because I don't quite have the face for it. I don't have the jawline for it. For the rest of my life, that impacted me. He didn't know that was going to happen. And because of that, I was a swimmer. I swam. Well, what do you wear when you swim on a swim team? You wear a bathing suit. What is one of the most revealing sports? Swimming, because you're in your swimsuit. Well, I am fat, right? I think that I'm fat now, so I don't want to wear that swimsuit in front of everybody. Dropped out of swimming. It caused issues with me being confident to be in drama because I didn't want to be in front of a large crowd because I didn't like the way that I looked. Looking back on it now, poor Erica. poor. It's just like, Erica, oh my goodness, you had no idea. But that's what happens. Something clicked in my brain. And because of that, I didn't have confidence, right? And then I wanted to join the wrestling team. I wanted to join the wrestling team because I just thought it would be a good idea. I'm strong. I have like a stronger upper body. I got strong shoulders. I got these like big arms. I'm short and I'm stocky, a little curvy. I'm a little curvy girl. I wanted to wrestle. My dad said, absolutely not. That's a man's sport. That's a man's sport. You can't wrestle. So what am I supposed to do? I'm too short to play basketball. I'm not going to play volleyball because they wear those little short shorts. I didn't want to have to reveal my body. So from then on, I had confidence issues. And this is what led me to not have confidence with myself in so many aspects of life. And I'm not going to sit here and blame my dad. It's all his fault. Even though I did go through a period of like, damn him for doing that to me. But that's a victim mentality. I can't have that. I can't move on with my life if I keep doing that. So I've had to come to peace and I've had to come to terms with it and work through that on my own and just move on because it's way too heavy. And so becoming a business owner and then having to be on camera, then having to essentially with poop scooping, I'm entering the service industry. What's the service industry? It's male dominated. So then that circles back to the wrestling thing. That's a man sport. What's business? It's a man sport. For the most part, a lot of times when I go into meetings, when I go into business seminars, when I go into anything that's business related, I'm the only woman there. I am the only woman there. There's a lot of female business owners, but a lot of them are stay-at-home mom business owners. They run businesses out of their home. They do e-commerce. There's not a lot of women business owners that are going out and performing services. There are. Don't get me wrong. There are businesses out there, but if you look at the ratio, a lot of them are owned by men. And so when I came into this, it was intimidating. I was nervous to do so, but I had to put my shoulders back, take a deep breath, and be like, you're going to do this, Erica, because one, you want to do this and you're going to figure this out. You're not going to allow your scaredness and being afraid to stop you. And when I was doing research online, I wasn't finding a lot of content on social media. I wasn't finding anything about poop scooping. So there I go. Here we go. Starting to talk about being a female business owner. I wonder how many female pooper scoopers I help start their business. I am so very curious because I have no idea, but I know that there's a nice amount that have reached out to me. And so overcoming my fears and my goals, I said, you know what? There's no content out there for somebody like me. So let me go ahead and create that content. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do 100 videos. I'm just gonna produce 100 videos. Well, what does that look like? Well, you record a video a week or 2 videos a week, and you just, okay, how are you gonna make that happen? I'm gonna use my cell phone because that's what I have on deck. How am I gonna learn how to record it? How am I gonna learn how to edit? I'm just gonna find an editing app and I'm gonna do that. So I set the goal and I worked it backwards. And why I think this is so important is because if we want to move forward and if we want to do the things that we need to do, we got to set the goals. I'm going to grow a $500,000 business. I'm going to grow $1 million business. It sounded ridiculous to me a few years ago. Erica, at the end of 2023, that has educated herself, has made goals and achieved them, have set goals and not achieved them, because sometimes you just don't achieve the goals because you set the goal and you realize that was unrealistic. That's really a 10-year goal instead of a 2-year goal, or that's a 5-year goal. Sometimes we're going to talk about that when we get to the SMART goals. But this is how you're going to push yourself forward. When I started this business, literally the goal was start the business, make enough money so I could quit my hospital job and leave there and become a full-time pooper scooper. Okay, what is that going to take? I needed to make sure I was making over $40,000 a year. Check. I needed to make sure that I could get health insurance for me and my husband. Check. And I was able to put money away for retirement. Check. That's what it took for me to leave the hospital. Goal. Set the goal, worked it backwards. And now that we're at the end of the year, now what we can do is we can reflect on how this past year went. What struggles did you have? Where did you have your successes? Did you set goals? Did you set too many goals? Did you not set enough goals? Did you set them and work them backwards? Just be realistic with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, because sometimes you can turn a blind eye to it and you're like, I don't know why I didn't grow. I don't know why I didn't pick up these customers. I don't know. You know, you need to be humble, and you need to put your pride aside and look at the data and really look at the facts. That's literally what I had to do. Why wasn't I able to grow my business? Why was I struggling? Because I got lazy, because I got lazy and I got too loose with stuff, and I took on too many tasks and didn't have the proper action plans to be able to support it. I was unrealistic with the amount of time and the amount of energy that I have at 36 years old, running a business, poop scooping business, running a media business, and having a family, and still trying to like look halfway decent, have my health be decent. That's I was exhausted. My body was literally shutting down. It was like, nope, you need to sleep. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Girl, you're just tired. You took on way too much. That's what I want you to do. I want you to reflect for real. Take some time. This doesn't have to be done in one sitting. Take some time and really reflect on your business and write it all out. And then think about it like, for 2024, what do you want to work on? It's hard to work on a ton of stuff. And as business owners, we're like, we have so much stuff that we need to work on. But remember, this being an entrepreneur is a journey, okay? So yeah, you might have all this stuff, but it might not be able to be done right away. Okay? You might be like, okay, I need to have this done in the next 2 years, the next 5 years. So what can you work on for 2024? Do you need to get your prices right? Do you need to get them stabilized? Do you need to hire? Okay, if you need to hire, do you have your SOPs, your standard operating procedures in order? And if that sounds like a foreign word to you, you're like, what is that? It's really important for you to take all the stuff that's out of your brain and what you do on a daily basis and put that on paper, put that in a Google document, put it in a video format. So when you go to train and you go to hire somebody, there's consistency, because when there's consistency, you can scale much easier and much better. So if you want to hire, okay, great. But that's a larger tasks that needs to be broken up into bite-sized pieces. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go ahead and hire without all of that stuff. You can. You can. But I'm just letting you know that it comes with some heartache, and it comes with some a lot of bottlenecks for you if you don't have standard operating procedures, because maybe one day you handle a situation this way and then you're feeling differently a couple months later, and then the employee handles it the way that you told them a couple months ago, and then you're like, wait a minute, why did you handle it that way? And they're like, you told me to do it that way. And you're like, no, I didn't. And they're like, what? Is my boss losing their mind? You probably are losing your mind. Okay, so write all that stuff out and be realistic with yourself. Don't guilt yourself into thinking that you have to do everything at once. You're going to want to craft SMART goals. So what does SMART goals break down to? It's specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant. And there's a time bound around it. You have like a time frame. So specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant to where you're at in business right now. Okay, you're going to want to be specific. You're going to want to narrow down the details. Details. Some of us business owners ain't real good at the details. Well, guess what? You got to get good at the details, okay? Then you got to make sure that it's measurable. How can you track this? How can you track the data? And if you don't think the data is important, I'm here to just say slap. The data is so incredibly important. And I didn't realize how important it was until I got my coach and they started going through data and they started explaining to me why it's important. And it's something that's very hard to learn. I don't know Excel. I don't know how to look at a spreadsheet. What? But I'm going to tell you what, by the end of next year, your girl's going to know how to do all that. I'm going to know how to create an Excel spreadsheet, because that's a goal of mine. Do I have my action steps yet? No, but I'm going to put that together. Okay. And then I'm able to measure the data of the goal, because will I be able to create the sheets that I need? Okay. So you want to make sure that you can measure it. And then, is this goal achievable? Can you actually achieve it with where you're at and what you got, what's your resources? Okay. This is where you have to be realistic with yourself. I got a problem with doing this. And then, is it relevant to where you're at right now? Can this be done in the next 12 months? If not, if it's a big goal, like I want an office building. I want like a house and a barn and stuff like that. Okay, that's a massive goal. But what are the little goals underneath it that I'm able to do within 12 months, and then break those down into quarters? Okay, so think about that. And then crafting SMART goals turns your aspirations into a roadmap. You guys remember maps back in the day before we had, the phone? Remember? Who here remembers logging onto your dial up freaking computer, going to MapQuest, putting your start and your stop, and then printing off the directions turn by turn from MapQuest, and then reading that crap while you were driving? I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we did it. But this is going to help keep you focused and ensures your goals are not just wish lists. They're actionable steps, okay? Now, let's talk about balance ambition with realism. Like, this is what I struggle with too. Super energized Erica that's got energy and optimistic, is far too wild for sad, low energy Erica. There has to be a balance in between, because if I have all these goals and aspirations, I'm not full of energy all the time. I have seasons of energy and I have seasons of low, and I have to understand who I am as a person and the different seasons that go on with life and with kids and my husband and all the other things that go on. And this is all very individual to you as a person, because you can end up causing stress and frustration with yourself when you set goals that are just unrealistic. They're supposed to push you and not break you, okay? You don't want your goals to break you, because that's not sustainable long term. Like with this podcast, I told myself I wanted to do 52 episodes in 52 weeks, which I did. But I really realized that recording an episode every single week with everything that I got going on, it's just too difficult. And so I reached out to a podcaster of mine. They have the Elite Life podcast with Trisha and Kylie. They have a great podcast. They batch record their stuff out, and I reached out to Kylie, and she's like, "Girl, you just gotta batch record your stuff." I'm like, "What? How can I do that?" And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's just what I'm going to do. And so I am still doing this podcast. I didn't quit. I didn't quit on you guys, but I was close. I really felt like I was going to, because I was just burnt out, tired. So I just had to rework the plan, because the plan wasn't working. And that's something to note. If you got your goal, you worked your plan, you're like, whoa, this ain't working out. Okay, rework it. It's okay. Because you got to remember that balancing your ambition and your realism is like, hold on, I got this right from the internet. Let me read it to you guys. Balancing ambition and realism is like finding the sweet spot between reaching for the stars and keeping your feet on the ground. I like that. All right, so let's talk about some action steps of like actually breaking something down. So, like I said, I wanted to do 52 podcasts in 52 weeks. That was the goal, so I worked it better. So I made the goal, and then I said, okay, I don't know how to do anything about podcasting, but I know people that do, so let's hire somebody. So I reached out to Mr. Producer. I hired Mr. Producer. Then he told me what I needed to do to get started, and walked me through it. Boom, sounded good. Then I created a podcast recording studio in my bedroom. Boom, here we are. I got a studio. It's set right up. I have my podcast mic on a boom. I got one light over here. I used to have a light over here, but it broke. I got my laptop in front of me, and then I have my stand. So I just pop my phone in. Everything's set up to where it needs to be. The only thing I need to bring to my podcast studio is my phone, myself, and my personality. Everything's set up for me. Okay. Then I decided how was I going to record this? What I was going to record on. I decided I was going to record everything on my phone for the video because I don't understand how to use the fancy cameras. I don't know. I know how to use my iPhone, so I figured out how to do that and I'm recording it. Then I decided, okay, what day am I going to upload on? I want to upload on Mondays. I want to be the first thing my scoopers hear on Monday morning, so I'm going to record it. I'm going to upload at 5 a.m. Check. Then I carved out the time in my schedule to record and prep. This was the hardest part, was the prep. Recording is not hard for me. It's the prep work that goes into it, the details. And that's where I was really struggling. For real, for real. And then I outsourced what I could and what I was starting to struggle with. I'm the face, okay? I am the one that creates this content. Nobody else can create this content for me. I don't have a twin sister with, my personality. So I'm the only one that can do this part right here. The editing could be outsourced because I don't have to do that. The thumbnail production for the YouTube video could be outsourced. I wish I could outsource the shorts, but I can't afford that yet with the podcast because I don't have enough revenue coming in to be able to outsource that. But that's a goal of mine, is to produce more revenue so I can outsource that, because I don't need to do that either. I just need to be the one recording it, coming up with the content, recording it, and sending it to the folks that I need to send it to. And eventually, hopefully, I can outsource that. So then my main focus will be producing, well, not really producing, coming up and figuring out what I want to talk about, what the hot topics are, recording it, and then responding back to comments. I don't want to upload anymore either. I want to outsource that. I want to be able to interact with my people, have that connection, and come up with content. How many times can I say that? Coming up with content. Jeez Louise. So I did that, and those were the actionable steps to be able to do the podcast for 52 podcasts in 52 weeks. And so I was able to break it down into little teeny tiny things. So when you're thinking about your goal and what you want to do, you got to break it down like that. And goal setting is not a one-time event. I mean, literally, you got to recalibrate every week, if not every day, because life changes. In a perfect world, you can create this perfect schedule and how everything's going to go, but you can't control other people. You can't control life. You can't control how you're going to feel that day. You just can't. So be okay with having to pivot. What's that from? Name that show. And honestly, I'm the queen. I'm the queen of dreaming up all these ideas. I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool. And then when I have a lot of energy, and then I get all hyped up and I get super unfocused, and then I get bent out of shape when things don't go the way that I want it to. How dare whatever it is stop me from achieving the goal that I worked so hard to set. I had to overcome the confidence issue of thinking that I was able to even do that, to even be able to talk about it out loud, to put action steps in place and work through all of this stuff to be able to make this happen. And then how dare it not go the way that I want it to? The audacity. Okay. And then, celebrate those small wins, because sometimes the big wins take a long time to get to. So you got to celebrate the little successes. It's important. You might think that it's not, but it truly is to important to celebrate those little things. And as you start your goal setting journey, don't forget that, okay? Every single milestone deserves a celebration. It doesn't have to be a big celebration, but something that keeps you fired up and keeps you fueled and keeps a smile on your face and keeps you going, moving forward, okay? Every little check mark you make off your bucket list, you're like, oh yeah, I did that. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, but just remember, dream big. We have things we have to work through that happened in our lives, and that's a part of life. It's a part of overcoming stuff. Remember, don't try to be the victim. Don't play the victim. When you're able to take accountability for stuff and just let stuff go that happened, you're able to free yourself. That's what I've really learned. Having hatred or disdain in my heart towards somebody. It's just holding me down. It's just bogging me down. And I'm sure you can relate. Set those goals. Dream big. Know that you're allowed to dream big. Invest in yourself. Build up that confidence. Aim for the stars, but come up with actionable steps to be able to work back. And know that entrepreneurship is a journey. Okay, it is a journey. You have to enjoy the process. Okay, and I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Hang out with me over on YouTube. Drop some comments. I talked about a lot of stuff in this episode. So if you want to sound off down in the comments and have a conversation about it, I would truly appreciate it. And if you want to go ahead and leave me a 5-star review, that'd be cool. Go ahead and do that. Thank you so much. Let me check to see if I have any reviews. Hold on a second before I go ahead and wrap this one up. What? All right, it looks like we have a review. This came in September 14th, 2023. It says, Smart Podcast, 5-star review. It doesn't say who it's from. Oh, Blue Tutor said, great insight, Erica. I learned a lot of business skills from the podcast. Thanks for your help. Oh, that was very nice of you. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. I got another one. This one's from February 15th, 2023. They said, a real business owner, 5 stars, by a Zero Machine. I think that's what it's called, Zero Machine. Erica is legit. I started my own business off an interview she did a few years ago, and she's been dropping knowledge ever since. One of the most transparent and real business owners you can find on the internet. Definitely recommend the Scoop if you're starting your own scooping business. Thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, you guys. This is cool. This is so cool. Thank you. Until next time. Bye. I got a little rough.